What is up, everyone? It is The Beast, and welcome back to The Beast on. Yes, the YouTube channel that was supposed to be used and provided content every single moment of every single day, but pandemic has caused me to do nothing. Absolutely nothing. But we are back. The last video we did with my good friend Vicky Agari, who survived COVID-19, was a huge success, and I figured I'd go back to the well and talk to another former co-worker. Let me real quick set this up. So at one point in time, and listen, over my career in radio, 20 plus years, I worked with literally all the best. There's maybe a handful of the top South Florida radio talents that existed between the mid-90s to now that I haven't had a chance to work with at one point or another. And at one point in time, in the building that housed the legacy Entercom stations, which used to be Lincoln Financial, which used to be Jefferson Pilot, we amassed around the same time just this amazing portfolio of talent that I got to be around every day. We started The Beach, and that brought us Kenny Walker, and that brought us DJ Holiday, and that brought us one of my favorite people in the entire world that I have to get her on a video is Jade Alexander. We started The Shark, and that brought us Dina Lang, one of my most beloved and looked up to people in this business. And she lives down the street from me, so I should probably get a video with her. As well as Toast was with us for a while, and then he went back to the other station. Ashley O, Spanish. We had a multitude of people in the afternoons. Spam, Zach, but Will Altoff, one of the brilliant minds in alternative music programming, and John O'Connell, the program director for that station, absolutely one of the most amazing, unbelievable people in radio ever that I got a chance to work with. And then, of course, there's Light. And at Light, under the direction of the great Rob Sidney for a long time, brought back someone who had worked at Light before I got to Lincoln Financial. And before that, she had worked at the Coast. And before that, she worked at a little station called Zeta. And her name, well, you know her as Kimba. Legend in South Florida radio. Kimba is literally a legend. And the fact that I got to roam the same halls as Kimba, there wasn't a day that went by that I didn't, when I saw her in the hallway, that I didn't think, holy crap, that's Kimba. And I know that sounds kind of fanboyish or what have you, but it's not. It's really she's really good at the radio, and I really love the radio. I'm a student of the radio. I know how good she is at the radio. And I get to work in the same building as this person that's really good at the radio. Unbelievable. So, Kimba, we have something in common, and we'll talk about this coming up here, this chat, is that we were corporately dislocated from Entercom on the same day, meaning we were given our walking papers on the same day, along with Todd Durkin and Jade Alexander. I should get the four of us on a Skype call. That would be fun. We were both let go on the same day. And I thought that gave us a little something in common. And since we've been let go, we've been looking to find our way in this new world of media. And I wanted to catch up with Kimba. She recently started a podcast, a YouTube channel. She's getting back on the scene. So without further ado, one of the most legendary on-air talents in South Florida radio history, let's bring on the one, the only, Kimba. There she is on the screen, one of the most legendary people in South Florida radio, the affable, the legendary, the amazing Kimba. How are you?
Wow. Well, that was quite the intro. Thank you.
Yes, send the check in the mail. I could use it. I
I'm
haven't
not,
gotten Florida unemployment
no,
yet.
right. Oh, that's a treat. What about that extra 600?
Yeah, I'm
Where
still
did that
waiting.
go?
Still waiting for that. We can talk about that in a second. Life in a
Ooh.
pandemic. The reason why I wanted to talk to Kimba is because she, we have something in common. We have lots of things in common, but we have something very much in common, which is we were corporately dislocated on the same day.
Oh, that's
Uh,
a nice way to put it.
yes. So we have
Very
been.
diplomatic.
Yes, we have been in our proverbial living rooms, if I would say basements, but we don't have that in Florida. We've been in our living rooms, family rooms, trying to figure out what to do next for the last few months, and then the pandemic hit, and that hasn't helped. But Kimba, like me, has found other avenues to share with you guys, and I love it. And I wanted to talk to her about it. So we'll give you an opportunity. But first, Kim, I just want to ask, how are you doing mentally, physically, emotionally in this time of pandemic in Florida?
It, it's been a whirly gig. No,
Yes.
I've actually had, it's been fun because I've had time to archive all of this stuff that you're now hearing of what we're going to talk about here in a minute. But before I tell you all that, I have to tell you that you got let go before I did the same day.
Same day, yes. I
But
was the first, I
you getting
believe.
let go is what tipped me off that I was.
Really?
So thanks for posting about it because yeah, a mutual friend of ours texted me and said, "Oh my goodness, did Beast get fired?" And I'm like, I don't think so, So I went to my email and I wouldn't have done that had she not. And I don't know why I went to my email because it's never in an email to
Right.
anyone. You never know who's there and who's not at any given time.
Right.
But I had an email, just a very suspect email from the boss,
Right.
and I was like, So I responded and I said, I don't see anything. But then I saw the post. I said, yeah. I said, so, but I'm next. And everyone's like, no, you're not. I'm like, yeah, I am. And I was.
I don't know the order. It was me, Todd, and then you, and then I think Jade, all on the same day. Um, I have to do one of these with Jade because her story is great. But
Yeah, it is pretty funny. I think in bowling it would be called a strike.
yes,
Just knocked
exactly.
all the pins down in once.
Yes, exactly. And then there was more to come, and whatever. Anyways, welcome to radio. We'll get into that in a second. But
Yeah.
how are you doing?
So that's what I've been. So what I've been doing is stuff that I did not have time to do while I had a job, and a lot of that was archiving because I didn't know the reason at the time. Now it kind of makes a little bit of sense. I recorded a lot of my shows. I recorded all the interviews, or 99% of the interviews that I've done. A lot of photos, but mostly audio. There's a lot of audio, and some of it I just didn't know what were on the CDs yet because I had transferred them from cassette. That's how
Mm,
old they are because I started in 87 on the air. So they're from then. Most of the cassette ones were 80s, early 90s, and I had them transferred to CD years ago, but I just didn't have time to see what was on them. And so I finally sat down and listened to them and found all kinds of fun stuff that's really old.
So tell everyone what you've been up to and where they can find all these great stories and old interviews you've done and all of that stuff because you have been one of many that have helped me get relaxed and at night and like you tell me stories before I go to bed and it's
Oh,
great.
I did. That's wonderful. Yeah. So what I wanted to do was, yeah, share a lot of this stuff because it's, I hope, people love listening to the radio from what I understand. So I was hoping
Yes.
radio stories and the stories behind the stories and hearing some of the interviews again, would be interesting. So I came up with, and being that for years on the air, it was me, Kimba. So that's how people know me. So it's me, Kimba, radio broadcast being two words because I'm a
Right.
radio broad and it's a podcast. I like the puns. I like the play on words. So
Yes.
so it's me, Kimba, radio broadcast. And I also, because on radio we take requests. So I take them. I can't play music because all the copyrights and whatnot, and you'd have to pay a ton of money. So what I do is ask people what they want to know, and I do. I've gotten a few.
What do
So.
you call what do you call your requests?
Oh, they're questions
Yes,
because it's request and question mixed into one.
I
Because
love.
it's not easy being cheesy, but I try.
I love it. Mitch Phillips is somebody that I know from my previous stint in internet radio with SoFlo Radio. He hosted a show with Bill Murphy,
Um,
and Mitch and I would interact a lot, and you do a podcast with him.
I do. That one's called Man Voices, and the title of that is because I'm very often, regularly mistaken for a man. Over the phone, I want to clarify, over the phone or in a drive-through. It's not in person yet. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But and every time I say that, I would have listeners or even some friends. Hal, you don't sound like a man. It happens enough. Go to pick something up that was takeout, and it'll say Jim or Tim. Because usually I just say Kim, and I'll say Kimba, because that's a whole other thing. Because then they're like, "What did you just say?"
Right.
But it's still, yeah. Or they'll call me Sir. Do you need anything else, sir? So I find it very amusing. I think it's very funny. And a couple times my close friends have called, and maybe early in the morning, and you'd hear I say hello, and you'd hear this hesitation and go, "Oh, I thought I had the wrong number for a minute." So it's a true thing. It's happened enough times. And I just thought it would be funny to call the podcast that, because Mitch is known as the voice of God. That's his nickname.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Because his voice is so incredibly deep. So the two of us talking on a podcast, there's no way I'm going to sound manly next to him per se. So it made it even funnier, the juxtaposition of man voices with him really being the and that podcast is just more whatever. There's no set thing that we're doing.
Yeah, you guys just riff.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
It's good stuff. It's entertaining. I like it.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm a subscriber.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, well, whatever I can do to help.
Yes, I started as went to Miami Lakes Tech, took broadcasting. I'll do the really Reader's Digest version. Got hired while I was still in school as a board op, the one behind the scenes for the talk shows over at INZ. And then I soon thereafter got a part-time job on Zeta in 87. So I got hired in 86, 87, got on the air. Stayed at Zeta through the end of 2001. Was it big for a couple 9 months, like somewhere in 2002 before I was, how did you word that again? What were we done happened to us?
We were corporately dislocated.
That's what happened. Yes, we did a conscious uncoupling.
Was that the Paxson Clear Channel situation, or was that after that?
That was Clear Channel.
Yeah.
No. That story is going to be in the book.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And it may catch fire.
Nice.
Yeah, that's not a good story.
So big.
But, so as a big, and then I was, let out of that, and then I was out for about 6 months off the air, and then I got hired at Light, and then I was there for 7 years, and I jumped over to Coast because I was at nights at Light, and then I went to afternoons at Coast for a few years, and then I went back to Light, and I was doing afternoons at Coast and Light.
Yep.
And until I was shown the door.
Yep. Yep. November 12th or something like that.
That was the day.
Yep, exactly. All right, so all of your radio experience right there in about 2 minutes.
Right there.
It was good.
Yep.
So you did a video on ratings, and I wanted to talk about this because this is good stuff. Because what you brought up about why rock stations don't get it fair when it comes to ratings, I think applies to a lot of what my listeners and over the years have thought, which is sports stations don't get it fair when it comes to ratings because neither rock nor sports are played in dentist's office or doctor's offices or in elevators or what have you, and PPM just doesn't make up for that.
No. And probably the markets that rock is still doing well are probably diary markets, I would think. But I mean, like I said, of the top 48 markets, of which were 12, or 11, 12, that 46 of them use that PPM method. And what's so, to put it in a nutshell, if you haven't listened to my ratings podcast yet, it's PPM is portable
People meter. Yeah.
Purple people meter. And it's not what you're choosing to listen to, it's what you're subjected to. And like I said, I think a lot of DJs, I think a lot of people in the business don't really know how ratings work. You don't really pay attention. You're told about the ratings and what your ratings are and if they're good or bad and that kind of stuff. But the details of how PPM works, I don't even know if a lot of DJs realize that. And I just think it's profoundly unfair to base our ratings on if one person has a meter and they go into, like you said, a dollar store. But let's say they frequent somewhere that always has an adult contemporary station on. Even if they hate that kind of music, it's just somewhere they frequent for whatever reason. Maybe they have a meter and where they work, that's what's played, and they hate it. That station's still going to get credit from their meter as they listen to it all the time.
Right, which if you work at the two adult contemporary stations in town, you love. But if you work anywhere else, maybe you don't.
Like I said, they should get their due for being listened to at offices and stuff. I'm not trying to take something away from them. But the rating system, it would seem, should be based, like the Diary is still based on what you actively listen to. And programmers, you would think would want to program to people who they know are listening actively and purposely to them. But it's gotten to the point where there are so few meters versus the cume, the amount of people listening at any given time. I mean, can you just imagine that you're super serving, to use the example of the person who's subjected to it and doesn't really like that station, you're super serving someone who doesn't even like your radio station, and all the tens and maybe hundreds of thousands of people who are listening who love your radio station, you're completely ignoring because they don't matter with respect to getting the ratings.
Yeah,
and it's absurd.
It is, and not to mention the sample size. I don't think people understand how small the sample size is compared to the large market we live in. We live in market, radio-wise, is a little bit different than TV. It's like either 11 or 12. It goes back and forth. And there's about 4 million people in what they call our metro, which is the Miami-Fort Lauderdale area. And there's, at any given time, 1,000, 1,200, 1,400 meters out there for the entire 4 million people.
Right. And we are 12th. We're 12th market. Boston's 11, but we're quickly coming up on them.
Yep.
There's so few. And of those 1,400, some are active, some aren't. They're not always actively participating. And this, I will tell you, the more I learn about it, and it wasn't just from where we both were employed. I have friends who are, higher up and they deal with it. And every time we talk about it, I'd be like, wait a minute. So it doesn't matter about this, and this. It just matters about the meter. And it's like this, all hail the meter, and whatever the meter's telling them, that's what they're going to do. But it could be one person. It could be 5 for 4 million people.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, because every station has to have consultants and doctors of something that have to get involved in everything. I would, in my APD role, have to get on a conference call, and someone would go, well, yeah, it's probably, 2 meters. That changed the whole thing. You went from number this to number this because 2 people decided or were on vacation or did X, Y, and Z. And you're like, 2 people? 2 people shifted everything? And yeah, that's what happened.
And that's what this is the learning more and more about this. This is the one time or one of the very rare times in my career where I am happy that the majority of execs in radio are men. Because I'm like, what is wrong with y'all? Why didn't you go, like, really? I just don't understand it, because there's so many people. I mean, not everybody who's been in radio a long, long, long time is necessarily radio savvy, but you could say that about any type of business. But there's so many people who have skills specifically on radio, programmers who have been doing this forever, who just know how to serve their audience with their and choose songs with their gut and be able to do music tests and figure everything out like that, because they have so much knowledge and they have so much experience, and all that to me is just being tossed aside for this little beeper looking thing.
Well, originally the on the other side of things, when we had diaries, where you would fill out a diary for a week, you would fill out what your listening habits were. And I wasn't supposed to, but like when I was interning at WQAM in like 1997 or 98, because it must have been right after I graduated from college. I got a diary at my one-bedroom apartment in Kendall, and I was like, I'm not really employed. I'm just kind of interning, so I'll fill it out anyways. And I just wrote that I listened to QAM all day, every day, even though I didn't.
Right.
I was listening to you on Zeta, and I was listening to whoever, but I just filled it out that way because I'm like, I'll be the good intern, and I'll just fill it out that I'm listening to QAM all day. And that was kind of the reason why they said they went away from diaries, because it was a popularity contest and not a true measure of what people were listening to.
But yeah.
I mean, that's just the devil's advocate side of it.
And it's true that would happen. Like, and I said that in the cast that, like sometimes on the 7th day, you just scribble down your favorite station. But there's still, there are 200 and something markets of radio, and only 48 are using PPM. So all the rest are still using diaries. But at least I'd rather you write that down because you weren't supposed to when you worked there, but I'd rather somebody sit at the 7th day, even if they punched in and out now and again because Zeta or something played a song they didn't like. If they love that, I'd rather them write that because at least I know, well, they love that radio station. Right. It's not a true representation of time spent listening. That part I get. Right. But at least it's not, I went into this store and this store and they both had some station on, and now that station, it's like I listened to it all that time, even though I didn't even know it was on. I wasn't even paying attention. So, go ahead.
I was just saying, everyone go watch the YouTube video that Kimba did. It was the best explanation of the ratings system I've ever seen. But you brought up a great idea, which is these.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Well, because the other thing they did with the diaries, the other problem with them, with people kind of cheating on what they wrote, is that sometimes same happens with PPM though. They would send diaries to a particular area that was like, I don't know, Coral Springs, and Zeta would go through the roof. Or Hialeah and Super Cool would now be number one because there were so many. I just wanted to say that. Do you remember that?
Nice job. Yeah,
Super Cool.
Yes.
Don't get me started on the EDR Soul Star. Anyway, being a native. So anyway, so sometimes they would be weighted in that respect. If too many diaries went to a particular area, a station could benefit and other stations could be hurt by it. And PPM has the same issue as I mentioned in the cast about it being weighted based on who's compliant with the meter and who's not.
All right, so this is going to be a deep subject, and you feel free to attack this how you want. Considering what has happened to our beloved industry since consolidation, it's been about a 20-year plus really interesting ride for radio because of,
I was going to say something else, but sure.
Because of ownership consolidation and a lot of other things. Companies' stocks are on the decline. Now most of the radio companies, in one way, shape, or form, are in debt. It's a tough industry. Where do you see yourself going? Do you want to stay in terrestrial radio? Do you want where do I find Kimba in 6 months?
I would love to be on the radio again. I would love to do it. I would love to do it sometime this year because it would kind of keep my streak alive because I have not been off the air in any year since '87. So that would be kind of cool. I don't know if that's going to happen given what's going on now with the pandemic, given what you just said about how radio is. I don't know if that would happen. I would love to. I'm not, I'm just kind of hanging out and seeing what happens there because I don't know what's going to happen.
Let the people know where they can find you socially or...
Well, the YouTube, by the way, is just /HER KIMBA.
Okay.
If you want to find the specific channel.
Please do.
So that's youtube.com/HER KIMBA. And most everything else, the Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok. I haven't really been on. I used to use it a lot when it was Dub Smash.
I didn't even realize it was the same thing.
I believe they kind of morphed into TikTok. I used to do that all the time, and I just haven't. Anyway, that those are all at me_Kimba, and then my Facebook page is /me Kimba.
That's where you can go find the
Little theme there.
legendary Kimba. Quick hitter before we get out of here.
Yeah.
For the sports audience, favorite Panther of all time.
Oh. Can you do that to me? Oh, I don't know.
Come on, pick one.
No, I can't. I can't do that.
Is your favorite team the Rat team?
Oh, probably. Actually, I do have a favorite Panthers player.
Okay.
He's so. I was scrolling through my head. I'm like, how did I not immediately say his name? Because he's so nice. They gave him the number 1 twice. Billy Lindsay.
Billy Lindsay. Yes, no doubt. And he is a great guy. He's a great guy.
He really is. I finally got to meet him, and thankfully he didn't run, because I was always tweeting at him. And when he used to sit in the arena and do the commentary, I would take pictures wherever I was and zoom in on him and then tweet him at him. I see you. I know, it was really
okay.
I was just having fun.
Yeah, Billy Lindsay's a great guy. But as your favorite Panther, I like it.
Yeah, I like him. Screwy was always awesome. Brian Scrudlin.
Yeah, of course.
I will tell you, when they used to play the arena, I used to do the intermissions there, as well as the new venue, but I used to do the intermissions. And one time I was standing there, and one of the ice guys came running at me and jumped down on his knees and came, like sliding toward me. I'm going to mention I'm a native Miami, and so I thought he was just going to move out of my way. He didn't, and upended me in front of about 10,000 people.
Ooh, it's like live curling.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I know people.
I went airborne.
I know a bunch of our former coworkers work at the Panthers. We may be able to track down this footage.
Oh, I'd love to see that footage, because you could. I remember hearing the and then everyone's laughing hysterically, and then I actually busted open my finger. I had to get stitches because I had the mic in my hand, and when I hit, it slammed on the ice. And if you've never seen a mascot in hysterics, that's pretty funny too.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
Well, we went back, to check, the team doctors were laughing. They couldn't do anything because they were the team doctors. There's a liability thing.
Yeah.
And then the mascot is like hunched over, hysterical. And I had to get a few stitches in my hand. So that, I don't know if that's an embarrassment. I guess it is. I went airborne in front of
that
people.
certainly counts. Certainly counts.
Sure.
Kimba, thank you for taking time out of your day.
Sure, thank you.
I don't know what else you would be doing. I right now would be napping. So
yeah, not too many naps these days, but
well, I don't sleep at night anymore, so I just catch winks when I can. I have the pandemic insomnia. Pandemsomnia.
Is that what it is?
Yes. There's two things that have affected everyone: the pandemsomnia and the pandemic poops.
Wow.
Yes. Everyone in one way or another has been impacted in our sleep and in our bowel habits. So it's it's what we're dealing with these days. Some of us need more toilet paper. Some of us don't need it at all. In any event, just thought I'd share. All right. Well,
I appreciate that.
Thank you for taking the time. I will continue to watch your YouTube
I'm just
videos.
Slowly back away.
and listen to your podcasts. And we can't wait to see where you end up next. But stay healthy, stay safe, and continue to entertain South Florida as you always have.
Same to you and yours. Thank you.
Will do. Be good.
All right, there you have it. I know we went on for a long time, but man, how great was that conversation? God, I love her. She's great. She's spunky. She's funny as hell, man. And she's just so good at the radio. She's really good at the radio, despite the fact that her voice does kind of now sound like a man now that I think about it. But that's neither here nor there. She's amazing. Listen, please follow her on the social, follow all her YouTube channels and her podcast. And then, of course, subscribe to this channel right here, The Beast On, and follow me on social at Miami Radio Beast. We will do this again soon. Everyone stay healthy and stay safe out there. I love you all for watching. Thank you so much. Peace. I'll see you when I see you.